and welcome to another episode of Fahrenheit TV. Thank you so much to all of you for supporting us this summer. Season 3 has been such an honor to produce and bring so many great stories and artists in our city. And tonight, we're bringing more greatness to the stage with local artists who are changing our community through their arts and their craft and their visions. We can't wait to share their greatness with you. And we are so excited for the fall and all the new things we're going to bring to you. Coming to you live here at BNN Studios in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay tuned. Do you need content that inspires you, stories you could relate to, or talent that is simply too dope to describe? Welcome to Fahrenheit TV. Fahrenheit TV. Fahrenheit TV is a live monthly variety show that showcases people's greatness through narratives and artistic expression. We're back this summer to bring you more live, sizzling talking entertainment to uplift your soul. Tune into our live episodes here on BNN TV or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us on social media to keep up with all our latest news. We hope that you'll tune in. Thank you so much again for tuning in to another episode of Fahrenheit TV. My name is Farah June, and I'm the host, creator, and producer of this amazing variety show that I'm so honored to produce each month with a great team. So thank you again for tuning in. So fall is here. I mean, I know all of you could actually feel it in the Boston area, and I'm so excited because it's one of my favorite seasons because it celebrates traditions and change. As you know, the weather changes on us and, you know, all the bright colors that we're seeing, so do we. Our moods change, our surroundings change, and I think it's really a good combination of like celebrating traditions and change. And tonight's episode is called Culture Builders, and we're focusing on local artists who are using their craft through various mediums to express, you know, what they see around them in their community, to express their culture, to express themselves. And I think with culture builders, especially with our city changing in so many different ways, and you know the season bringing all that change, it's important to have artists and who I consider as community leaders, you know, preserving our history, preserving our traditions, and making our city such a brighter, better place. And tonight, I am so honored to have 3 extraordinary guests in the house. Our first guest is a visual artist who has so much talent. I mean, he does sculptures, he does canvases, he does everything. And he's here in the studio tonight to share a little bit about his story. I want to welcome to you guys, Kenyatta. Thank you so much for joining us, Kenyatta.
Thank you for having me.
I really, first of all, I just want to say I love your look. And I just noticed that you made this artist yourself, right?
Yeah,
you made your outfit yourself?
everything, like my shirt. I designed my shirt, designed my pants, designed my sneakers, my necklace, I wrapped this.
Like literally everything.
Yeah.
Wow, you are like too fabulous for words. Like I want to be on your level of cool. So I want to start off, because I know we're going to talk about your art, but I want to start off by quoting one of a great artist by the name of Nina Simone, who said that it's an artist's duty to represent the times. Do you agree with that statement? What does that mean to you?
Definitely. Art, you capture the moment, like what's going on. So you tell the story of what's happening, you know, like in the current times. And I think as an artist, you have that responsibility because you may see it in a way, in a light that other people may not, you know, so it's really a way to like enlighten people.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and let them know what's going on if they don't, you know.
And so what inspired you to become an artist? I know when we talked earlier, you said art has always been part of your life, but what inspired you to like do it professionally and do it, you know, all the time?
Freedom.
Freedom?
You know, like I don't really like to be marginalized, I guess, or like limited in what I can do. So with art, it's just I'll put it in a box, or just also too being on my own time. You know, I don't want to be on someone else's time. You know, so that was one of the main things for me.
Of why you became an artist. Can you take us back to a moment where like you created something really like something extraordinary that you're like, man, I really should like take this more seriously. This is more than just like, you know, like a hobby that I'm doing. Like, can you take us back to when you really fell in love with art?
I think that would probably be my first painting. The first time I painted. 'Cause I used to always draw. I had never painted, so when I first painted, it was just like, wow, like, it inspired me to do more.
Yeah.
When I saw the colors and how things just popped out and the vibrancy, so.
Yeah, and the energy that you felt from that.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And were you using like acrylics or oils? Do you have like any
A mix.
type?
I use acrylic, I use oil,
Mm-hmm.
Different types of paint.
Yeah, and I love that you mix art together, because that shows in your artwork. I mean, you have so many different mediums that you work with. So you do sculptures, you do canvases. I mean, I've seen portraits where you have like different sneakers. I don't know how you like constructed it to like be on that. But can you talk a little bit about your work and like, things like how you find your inspiration, things that you've worked on before?
Inspiration just comes from, a lot of times it comes from life. Something that I see. It could be like right now we're having a conversation. It could be something you say.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, spark an idea. So it comes from a various different ways. Sometimes there is no inspiration. Sometimes the inspiration is just to paint and see what I come up with. So it varies.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And do you ever is there an audience that you're trying to reach when you're making all of your artwork?
It depends on what it's about. Like there's pieces like for example, like there's a piece that I think it just showed on the screen.
Like the Trump one.
Yeah, the Trump one, and also like the do not enter piece. Like this one right here, where it has to do with the statement about people from certain countries and stuff like that. So I just feel like people who like something like that is for people who would support something like that. To make them think like, what am I like supporting? Like what am I getting behind? So it always has like different meanings, interpretations, but it's a lot of it is just creating an art piece.
Yeah.
And then it just resonates with who it resonates with.
And I know you also had your artwork featured at the Statehouse. So can you talk about that experience and what you created for that moment, that experience?
Well, like the piece I just spoke about, the Do Not Enter piece, that's actually called the Ununited State of America. And then there's another piece called The Kid in the White House, which is like it's kind of childlike, something that I didn't like. A lot of times I spend a lot of time on my paintings just because it was honestly related to Trump. Like I was like, I'm not going to spend too much time. It was almost like a mockery of him, basically.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you. I'm not going to spend my time to like really draw him. Yeah.
But to have those in the Statehouse, I thought it was like a statement. Because the people who are in, who are in the Statehouse every day, they're people who may have a conversation with him. Like there's senators and who come through there, Congress people. So I just thought that it was good for people to see in that building, because it's something that they're the people who make laws and like you said, decisions. So they need to see it and think about what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that's the first interpretation I've seen of him like that, and I was like, well, that makes sense. So like, yeah, that's really cool.
And another thing that was interesting about that installation was there was a lot of artwork from like elementary school students, and they had like a lot of poetry, some artwork. And it was interesting to see that, even they understand like this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool, and it resonates with different generations. So I think that's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what else? Like I know when you're making your canvases, and you've made like really big canvases that have so much detail, and then you've made some that just like the color and the way that you did the strokes on the paint and have like a statement of its own. Can you talk about a little bit about that artwork?
I'm really into like bigger pieces. Like I wouldn't do like really big pieces, like 10, 20-foot pieces.
Wow.
That's where I'm heading with that. But in terms of the colors, each color has its own vibration. So colors can be healing. Colors can stimulate certain emotions. So that's like what I try to capture with like different colors. Like I have a collection called like the color of emotion, where I'm trying to capture different emotions with different colors.
That's dope.
So the canvases is kind of varies in terms of like the inspiration behind them. Some of them, like I said, are just random, where I go into it without an idea, and then sometimes I'll go into it.
Yeah, is it kind of like your therapy in a way?
Very, very therapeutic.
Yeah.
I would say I would recommend that to anyone who's may have things that they're struggling with. It could be you know, just, you know, life, you know, sometimes throws you curveballs. So
Yeah.
I think the art for me, I know, is very therapeutic. Writing poetry, painting, I don't know, it's just something that I can't really explain it. It's like painting is like a spiritual experience.
But I'm glad that you talked about that because, you know, like I said, like the season's changing, right? So it's gonna get darker quicker now. You know, winter's gonna be here soon as well as fall and all the holidays. And like, yeah, it's really great because it's like, wow, nature is like taking us through like another, you know, like a wave. But also that like waves of emotions, right? Because we could feel a lot of pressure for these holidays coming up. You could feel a lot of like you feel down because it's not as bright, you know. So it's really important. I'm glad that you said it to like find something that gives you that therapeutic, you know, energy that you need to keep you up, to keep you going, and keep you inspired. Yeah. Did you ever feel like I don't know, like if art wasn't there, you wouldn't feel like complete at all?
At this point, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because there's nothing else that I really want to do. You know, it's what I'm passionate about. It's what I see myself doing, like, you know, in this moment and also in the future. So, I don't know. I don't really know. I just feel like art is life, you know. So if I stop doing it, I feel like I will always be reminded of it. You know, as soon as I go outside, I'm reminded of it.
I mean, as soon as you put your outfits on, you're reminded of it.
Just,
so.
you know, anything, everything, you know, cars, there's this studio, you know, someone designed this. So everything's art, you know, and I think like for artists and just like, you know, society in general, artists have kind of been like taken for granted.
Definitely.
You know, because like I said, without artists, there's a lot of things that we wouldn't have, you know. So
and people don't think about it, like you said, like this studio, someone designed it. That's art. That's sometimes people don't think about it. They just think like, just like, you know, it's just a canvas, and you're just, you know, painting on the side of the road, and you're just homeless, and it's more than that. It really is life. It's everything. That's awesome.
Definitely.
And I wanna, because I remember meeting with you before, and you talked about your sculptures. And one of them that I really love was like the musical chair piece, and like how you would find like, you know, different like materials when you're walking down the street, and like someone might, you know, throw out their bike, and you're like, oh, well, I could do something with that. Can you talk about like how you construct those pieces, because they're very like vast and very like wow. Like how did you come up with that?
So I just did two new sculpture pieces.
Oh, awesome.
But it just happens, you know. I'm trying to think how I started doing that. I don't even know how I started doing it.
Like the musical chair piece, like how did you, because I remember you told me there's an even deeper meaning behind that.
So someone gave me the guitar, and there's a speaker that's attached to it, and the speaker was a piece of its own. So the speaker in the frame, and I had the guitar for like a month, and I was just like, what am I gonna do with this? And so one day I was like, all right, today's the day. I'm making something with this today. So I took it to the studio, and I was just like standing there with the guitar in my hand, and I saw the speaker, and then I turned like one more time, like to my right or something, and there was a chair there, and I was like, musical chair. It just clicked like that. So
Perfect.
a lot of, that's what I'm saying, like it just kind of create themselves.
Yeah.
You know, most of my art, it creates itself, and I just give it a name afterwards, you know. So.
Do you have to get in the mood, like is there like music that has to be in the background, or do you have to like eat anything? I know some people have like their rituals that they have to follow before they create greatness. So like, what's your ritual if you have one?
That's a great question. And for me, it's very random. Like I don't have a ritual. Like sometimes I listen to music, sometimes I just want silence.
Yeah.
You know, so it all depends on just
like
my
your
mood.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's how I go about creating. And then sometimes, you know, if I'm not in the mood, I'll just do something else. You know, I might not even make anything. You know, because it's a flow. You have to let it flow. You know.
That's awesome. And what's like your favorite thing to like, I know this might be an unfair question because you have so many different mediums you work with, right? So like sculptures, canvases, all that good stuff. Which one's your favorite to like do? Do you like more? Because sculptures, like all your sculptures, you almost have to construct it, right? And then you also add paint and all that other stuff. And then canvases, I mean, it's a blank, you know, thing, and you do whatever you want. So which one do you enjoy the most?
I would say the sculptures, just because they already exist. You know, so I'm taking something that exists and making something new out of it. You know, giving it a whole completely new function. You know, so I would say that and clothes.
And clothes?
Yeah, because I can wear it and other people can see it. Like sometimes, you know, with like sculpture pieces or paintings, it's in the gallery, so you have to go to the gallery to see it. Clothes, just walk around. You know, it's a walking canvas.
I hope that you're gonna, if you don't already have this part of your, stuff that you share with the world, like, for other people to wear their art.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that something that you would think about doing in the future?
Yeah, and I've been trying to like inspire other artists, to do the same. Like we could start a industry of our own.
Yeah, I'm down to be part of this collective. Definitely. Well, Kenyatta, we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit more about your art and your stuff that you've done in the galleries, and learn a little bit more about what you have in store in the future. So stay tuned, everyone.
Fahrenheit TV.
For still tuning in with us. We are talking to an extraordinary visual artist by the name of Kenyatta. Before, we were talking a little bit about his work and what inspired him, and now I want to talk about what he does in the community, even more than putting out his greatness on canvases and his sculptures. So you also you're the program director at the Afro Caribbean Museum, which,
correct,
to be honest with you, I didn't even know we had that in Boston. Until I went to go see it and met you there, and it's just extraordinary. Like all the artwork, especially from a lot of Haitian artists, which makes me really proud. So can you talk a little bit about that, about your experience there, what the Afro Caribbean Museum is, and how we could get involved?
So the Afro Caribbean Museum, the owner John Fleury, he's Haitian, and so what he does, he goes to Haiti, and he'll either bring artwork back, or he'll bring the artist back, and they'll come to the museum, and we have studio space downstairs, and they'll create their paintings downstairs, and then they donate them to the museum.
Oh, nice.
So what I've been doing there is just like having events, like scheduling events, coordinating events. I've had some shows there, like personally, like solo shows and stuff like that. And that's really what it's about. It's really just like creating a place for like artists of color to have a place to show their work, to have events, and to just grow as artists.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because, like you said, there's not a lot of places that artists of color can have their work, and it's really always like about like politics and like how to get in there. So it's really like not only like great, but also like I don't know, it makes me feel honored and makes me feel proud of my heritage to see it on like so many different ways over there. Like it's awesome, and it's like a great space that people could also like do their own events at too.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And all the artists, all the Haitian artists are like world-renowned artists.
Yeah.
They're all like well-known. They have artwork in different places like Tokyo, London, the Los Angeles Museum of Fine Arts. So they're very like well-known. So for me, it's like an honor and a pleasure to be able to meet them, and to learn from them, and just be around them and just soak up, the expertise that they have.
Yeah, and I can imagine that energy too is just like wow. It just makes you feel so like comfortable and great, and like it's awesome. And do people need a membership to come to the Afro Caribbean Museum? Like how does that work?
No, you don't need a membership. You could just come. like you could contact us like online on Instagram. Like you can send a message if you want to come by. I actually have a tour tomorrow.
Oh,
it's City Year. It's coming tomorrow to do a tour. So you just contact me. You can link me on Instagram or email me, whatever, and we can set it up, whatever it is that you like to do.
That's awesome. So you could create there. You could come and see the various artworks from all the Caribbean artists there, and it's like really cool. I mean, I did a fashion show there. That was really, really
definitely.
fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, what do you? I mean, there's so many questions I would ask you. So, what do you enjoy most about working there? Like, what gives you the most joy?
The culture.
The culture?
The culture, yeah. Because, you know, like, I'm not Haitian, I'm American, you know. But, you know, you learn how we're connected, you know. And art is, a lot of the art, the Haitian artwork, it has to do with, like, everyday life, like, and culture. So you see a lot of things that you can relate to, you know, in different ways. So.
And it's like a universal language, so
Exactly.
it's like, it's really cool to see that, like, you could get so much energy from looking at a canvas or a painting and just being like, wow, like, I know their story in some ways.
And that's how we communicate sometimes too. Like some of the, you know, some of the artists when they come over here, they speak a little English, but that's how we really communicate. We can communicate through like talking about a painting or something. And a lot of it is just like pointing at stuff and like, you know, saying certain words that relate to whatever we're talking about. And then that's how I actually help them, you know, to learn and understand like our language that we speak and like our culture here as well. So it's like a mix, like we both give and take in those instances. Yeah.
So do you have anything that you're working on now? Because I know like last week you had a show at the library. So can you talk about like events that you've done in the past and any that we can look forward to?
So the event that I did at the library last week, that was a viewing of my documentary called Mind of an Introvert. And so the Mind of an Introvert documentary came along with, for Art Week, I did a solo show, Mind of an Introvert. So the documentary is based on all the artwork that was in the, my first, that was because that was my first solo show.
Wow. Were you nervous at all?
No, not at all. You know, I was
Because
ready.
you said you're an introvert, so like I'm like, are you nervous? Like,
no,
when you do
I'm
those
not.
shows?
I'm just kind of like,
just chill.
I relate
and, like,
that
relax.
to like art, you know, because I feel like most artists are kind of introverted in their own way because even if they have an outgoing personality, like when they're creating or they're trying to come up with something, that's an introverted process. You know, nobody really knows what you're thinking when you're creating, so that's kind of like what that speaks to.
And is that what your documentary kind of captures, is like you live in both those worlds of like, you know, giving back and being with the community, but also like creating your own stuff?
So I have a mural at the Grove Hall Library, and that's kind of like what that was about. It's about you know, the community, because there's a lot of like students, you know, that go to the Burke High School that, you know, they're talented artists. So, you know, sometimes for us, you know, like sometimes we don't always have the outlets or the resources. So I just did that, you know, kind of simple, just like geometric shapes, and it says art going down, and I wanted to just like serve as a reminder to like pursue your art.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like a beacon of hope too, because you could be having a bad day and you see some bright colors or something to remind you like keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you do murals as well. I forgot to talk about that. So can you talk about like making murals? I feel like that's such like a bigger process because it's like, it's usually huge and you have to really think about it because it's going to be there for like a while. So like, can you talk about like that creating process and like any murals that have been your favorite? It might be an unfair question, but you know, figure why not.
That's a good question. So with the process, it's kind of like just the thought process behind the mural, right? It's like, you know, a canvas is a certain size. So you already know you have to paint bigger. So you have to figure out, all right, how am I going to fill the space first? And also, it's just, you know, a lot that goes into it. You know, like you have to understand like the surface that you're working on. You have to understand like what type of paint to use. You know, so there's a lot of extra things that go into it, like aside from like just painting on a canvas.
So the production is a whole lot, but it's worth it basically because you've done amazing murals.
So I've done that one at the library, at the Grove Hall Library, and then I have one at Four Corners. And there's another one that I restored on Dudley Street. It's a DSNI mural. Trying to think, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
I mean, you've done so many, I would forget too if I was you. It's like so
and
much
then I have
talent
like
around the city.
some paint boxes that I did, like one on Dorchester Ave. It's like the utility boxes, so the city they call them paint boxes now.
I like that they did that. It's like it makes our city look prettier.
And so that one on Dorchester Ave. There's another one on Blue Hill and Seaver, and there's another one by Grove Hall Post Office. And last fall, I got an award for like the public artwork, so it's like
Oh, that's awesome.
from the mayor's office for beautification. Yeah,
Well,
so
congratulations
that
on
was
that.
cool. Thank you.
So I know we're going to be running out of time soon, Kenyatta. Can you tell us about how we connect with you and if you have any upcoming projects that we could support?
So I have another solo show that I'll be doing next month. And that's just going to be sculpture pieces.
Okay.
I haven't come up with a title for the show yet.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, definitely let us know. Will you be like playing your documentary there too, or is it just going to be only about your artwork?
That's a good idea. I was actually thinking about
You
that.
should.
To project it.
Yeah.
And, you know.
I mean, give the
then-
audience all of you,
Yeah.
as much as you're comfortable with, yeah.
And then there's a project that we're putting together at Harvard that I'm working on. And my latest project that I did with some people who work at the Davis Leadership Academy on Fenelon Street, we painted the basketball court.
Oh, yeah, yeah. that
It's
was
still a
awesome.
work in progress. Like, we still have some work to do, but majority of it's done.
Okay,
So yeah, that's just more recent stuff that I've done.
awesome.
But there's a lot more too
Yeah.
that I'm planning
Well,
that I'll
keep
just,
us,
you know.
keep us informed because we want to support you and your artwork is great. I mean, like you are a talented like human being. You just have not only through your artwork but through your like personality. You're really just a real one. So thank you for coming on the stage. Like, how do we get in touch with you? Last thing.
You can reach me on Instagram at Mfalme Kenyatta 101. Also on Instagram at Afro Caribbean Museum. Yeah, like that's, you know, and also I have a website, Mfalme101.com, and also for my sneaker brand, MfalmeDesigns.com. So yeah, so you
Awesome.
can check out my work, purchase some of it. you
Yes,
know.
definitely.
So-
And we hope that you'll come back on the show because we would love to see some more artwork and talk a little bit more. So thank you
Definitely.
so much for joining us, and
Thank
we
you for
hope to see
having
you in the
me.
future.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much again for watching this interview. Stay tuned because we have more greatness coming to the stage after this short break.
Fahrenheit TV.